Welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to run the basic rotation for most class specs in World of Warcraft using just one button. Why would you want to do this? Isn't it just lazy? Surely it's against Blizzard's terms. Well, no, it's not against Blizzard's terms of service unless you use software or hardware to automate your actions. As long as you're the one spamming the button, you're good to go. You're still in control of your character, you still have to make choices, you're not a bot. That being said, there's definitely a synergy between one-button macros and the use of some form of auto-fire, and I'll come to that later in the video. Many people who use one-button macros will tell you that they have a disability or injury of some sort. Don't be too sceptical, that may very well be true. In fact, for many this is the only way they can play World of Warcraft, so it makes me really happy to see disabilities being catered for in this way. Of course, those of us who are fully abled, sometimes we just want to be lazy. 5 years ago, Blizzard removed the cast random macro. Ever since, Addon developers have come up with ways to manipulate macros to help us minimise spell bloat and to simplify complicated rotations. You may have used add-ons like Super Duper Macro or Macro Toolkit in the past, but you won't be needing those anymore. The add-on we're going to be using today is called GNOME Sequencer Enhanced version 2. You'll also need to use the website called Lazy Macros. I've put links in the description, so pause the video now and get those up and running. So how does this work? Well, in the past, to use GNOME Sequencer, you had to make an external folder and create text files in order for the add-on to work. Now with GSE2, the system has been made really easy and can all be done in-game. So let's log into my Beast Hunter and have a play. To open GNOME Sequencer, simply type /GS into chat and hit enter. By default, the add-on should have a few macros already listed. These generally have SAM written at the start. You could try these out, but I'm sceptical they'll be up to date and optimised. What I strongly recommend is that you head over to the Lazy Macros website, find your class and spec, and go to the PvE section. Have a read through the comments of a few and find something that sounds right for you. To install the macro, you need to select all of the text, but don't include the numbers down the left hand side. Hit Ctrl+C to copy and then head back to the game. Now click on the red import button to open the import window. Click the black area and hit Ctrl+V to paste in the details. Click Import and you should get confirmation. If there's an error, go back to Lazy Macros and make sure you've highlighted the script properly. If that still doesn't work, maybe you need to try something different. Now your newly made macro should feature in the main list. To add it to the hotkey, simply drag the icon to the desired location. This list should also detail which talents the macro has been designed to work with. In this case it says 3113112. This means that the level 15 talent should be Dire Beast, as that is the third talent. The level 30 talent should be Stomp, as it's the first talent, and so on. Utility and flavour talents such as the level 45 and level 75 tiers can be your choice and shouldn't affect the macro function. If you want to know about editing these macros or creating your own, I'll be covering that in my next video, so hit subscribe and click my bell to get notifications. Now that you have your one button macro on your action bar, let's talk about the best way to use it. First, you need to allocate a keybind to the macro. I like to use F6 as I only use F1 to F5 on my keyboard. I don't know how you have your UI set, so I'll leave it up to you to figure it out. Whatever you do, don't use F4, because no doubt eventually you'll want to use the Alt modifier with your macro and you'll end up closing the game down. Bearing that in mind, you'll also need to make sure that any combination of modifier with your chosen keybind has not already been allocated. I kid you not, I spent an hour trying to get a control modifier to work the other day, then I realised that Ctrl F6 is set to special action bar number 6 by default. I removed the keybind in the settings and now my macro works wonderfully, forcing the macro to cast multi-shot whenever I hold down control. Okay, so now we have the keybind set, we need to think about how to use it. You can spam the button manually and that's cool. If you have the Bartender add-on, you can bind it to the mouse wheel, or you can set up an auto fire externally to the game. There's software out there called Auto Hotkey, which uses text document based code to make a key press repeat whilst held down, or toggle on and off. This will literally type your keybind though, so you won't be able to use the chat windows or they'll just fill up with text. Many hardware manufacturers like Logitech supply software with their mice and keyboards that let you program what various buttons do. For example, the extra thumb and index finger buttons on a Logitech G700 mouse can be told to toggle or repeat any keystroke you set them to. If you go down this route, I advise setting the repetition to between 50 and 150 milliseconds. Any faster and it will definitely mess with the game. So here we go, I punched in my details into a simulator and it says that I should be capable of just under 400,000 DPS on a stationary boss. Let's see how the macro fares. Well, there you go, we burst to about 600,000 and then settled down and sustained at over 350,000 DPS. It isn't perfect, but if you're on an out and are just questing or doing LFR, this is perfectly acceptable. I might add that these do work for tanking as well, but I strongly advise keeping your defensive cooldown separate. And no, this isn't for healers, sorry. Well, that's that. If you've recently been injured, I hope you get well soon, and if you have a disability and are looking to make the game more enjoyable, I really hope this helped. And if you're just lazy, go put the kettle on and try not to stand in the fire. If you like this video, hit like. If you're interested in creating your own macros, hit subscribe. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments below. As always, have luck and good fun.